Hey everyone, I'm Megan. Growing up, I always felt like I was living in my sister Lily's shadow. No matter how hard I worked, how much I studied, or how many trophies I won, it seemed like I was invisible. Lily was always the favorite, the golden child, and my parents never let me forget that. In high school, I was at the top of my class and the captain of the track team. You'd think that would get me some recognition, right? Wrong. Every family dinner was all about Lily, her bakery projects, her weekend plans. If I tried to talk about my day, I'd get a half-hearted "that's nice, Megan," and then the conversation would go right back to Lily. It wasn't just annoying, it hurt deeply. To deal with it, I decided to focus on myself. I studied even harder, and when the time came, I earned a full scholarship to college. My best friend's dad, seeing what was going on at home, offered to help with any extra expenses. Honestly, he's been more of a father to me than my real dad ever was. One day, as I was packing for college, my mom walked into my room. She had that look on her face, the one she uses when she's about to ask for something. "Megan, we need to talk," she said, sitting on the edge of my bed. "What is it?" I asked, not looking up from my packing. "It's about Lily," she started. "Her bakery isn't doing well, and we've had to make some tough financial decisions to keep it running." I stopped packing and turned to face her. "What does that have to do with me?" "We've taken out a third mortgage on the house," she admitted, "and we're struggling to keep up. We need you to reconsider your scholarship, maybe stay home and help out with the family business." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After all these years of them not investing in my future, now they wanted me to give up my dreams for Lily? "No," I said, standing firm. "I've worked too hard for this. I'm going to college." The rest of the conversation was a blur of yelling and crying. My dad called me selfish. Lily said I was ruining her life, but I didn't back down. The day I left for college finally arrived. As I packed my car, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was finally leaving, finally starting my own life on my own terms. As I drove away, I didn't look back. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, it was mine to control. It was a chilly fall evening, the kind of night that makes you appreciate being indoors. I was in my dorm, halfway through writing a sociology paper, when my phone rang. The screen showed my mom's name, and I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. I hadn't spoken to my parents since I left, and I wasn't eager to start now, but curiosity got the best of me, and I answered. "Hello? Megan, we need to talk." My mom's voice sounded strained, heavier than usual. "It's about the family." I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "What's going on?" "It's your sister's business. It's failing, Megan. We've tried everything, but it's just not working. We're in trouble." For a moment, I felt bad for Lily, but that feeling was quickly overshadowed by the fear of what they might ask from me. "I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't see how." "We took out a third mortgage to save the bakery," she interrupted. She cut in, her voice desperate. "We're drowning in debt, and we need your help." The words hit me hard. Not only had they risked everything for Lily's bakery, but now they expected me to fix it. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "We need you to come home," Mom said plainly. "Put off school for a while, help with the finances and the bakery. We can't do this without you." I couldn't believe it. They wanted me to give up everything I had worked so hard for, everything I had left behind, to fix their mistakes. Anger boiled inside me, but I kept my voice calm. "No, Mom, I won't do that. I'm not leaving school." There was a long pause, the silence hanging heavily between us. Then Dad's voice came through, harsh and accusing. "You're just going to let your family fail after all we've done for you?" The irony of his words made me want to laugh. "All you've done? Seriously?" I said. "I'm here on a scholarship, Dad, one I earned with no help from you." Mom tried again, this time with a gentler tone. "Megan, please, think of it as helping your sister. You wouldn't want her to suffer, would you?" But I had had enough of their guilt trips. Lily needs to handle her own problems. I have my future to think about. "You're being incredibly selfish, Megan," Dad snapped. "You're part of this family whether you like it or not." "I am," I replied, "but I'm not sacrificing my dreams for Lily's mistakes. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but it's not my responsibility to fix it." The conversation ended not long after. Dad muttered something about being disappointed before hanging up. I sat there with my phone in my hand, feeling both relieved and alone. It was the first time I had stood up to them so clearly, and even though it hurt, it felt right. I tried to go back to my essay, but my mind was elsewhere. I knew this wasn't over, they would come back, try to guilt me again, but I was ready for it. For the first time in my life, I was truly ready to stand up for myself. It was just another Tuesday on campus, full of the usual noise and energy, students walking around between classes. I was at the student center, grabbing a coffee before my next lecture, when I felt a chill. Looking up, my heart dropped. Standing across the room were my parents and Lily, their faces grim. I hadn't expected them to come here, to my world. As they approached, I could feel the eyes of everyone around us, curious about the drama that was about to unfold. Mom was the first to speak, her voice loud enough to draw even more attention. "Megan, we need to talk, now." Taking a deep breath, I stood firm. "We can talk, but I'm not changing my mind." Dad's face flushed with anger. "You're really going to embarrass us like this in front of everyone?" I glanced around. "It seems you're doing a fine job of that yourselves," I replied, my voice steady even though my heart was racing. Then Lily chimed in, her tone dripping with mockery. "Look at Megan, everyone, too good for her own family now that she's a college girl." I clenched my fists, struggling to stay calm. "This isn't about being too good, Lily, it's about me living my life, not cleaning up your messes." The argument escalated quickly, voices rising. Mom started pleading, tears welling up in her eyes. "Megan, please, we're your family, you can't turn your back on us." "You turned your back on me a long time ago," I shot back, my voice shaking with anger, "when you decided that Lily's bakery was more important than my future." Dad scoffed and shook his head. "You're just jealous, jealous of Lily's success." I let out a bitter laugh. "Success? Is that what you call bankruptcy and taking out a third mortgage?" By now, everyone in the student center was staring, whispers spreading through the room. I felt the humiliation, but I couldn't let them control me anymore. "I am not responsible for Lily's failures. I am not responsible for your bad financial choices. I am only responsible for myself." Mom's voice cracked as she pleaded, "You're being selfish, Megan, when will you see that?" "No, Mom, I'm being sensible. You may not get that, but I have to look out for my own future, because it's obvious you won't." The argument reached its breaking point. Dad called me a disappointment, and Lily accused me of ruining the family. As they stormed out, Dad tossed a crumpled bill onto the table, not nearly enough to cover their order. It was just like them to leave a mess for me to clean up. As they left, their words hung heavily in the air. I felt the judgment from those who didn't understand, but among the stares, I noticed a few nods of support. Some people got it. I sat back down, my coffee cold and untouched, feeling both defeated and victorious. I realized then that standing up for myself might mean losing them, but maybe that was the price of finally being free. As the chatter around me resumed, I knew this was a turning point. There was no going back, only forward. After that confrontation with my family, I felt drained and emotionally raw. I needed comfort, so I headed to the one place where I always felt welcome, the little diner just off campus. The bell above the door jingled as I walked in, a familiar, comforting sound. The warm aroma of coffee and freshly baked pies wrapped around me, and for a moment, I felt at ease. Here, I wasn't the girl caught up in family drama, I was just Megan. I slid into my usual booth. Jenny, one of the diner's owners, noticed my troubled expression right away. She came over with a pot of coffee in hand, concern in her eyes. "Rough day?" she asked, pouring me a cup. I nodded, giving her a small, tired smile. "You could say that." Jenny sat across from me, her face full of sympathy. "You want to talk about it? Or I can just sit here and listen." Taking a deep breath, I told her everything, the surprise visit from my parents and Lily, the argument, their accusations, and how humiliated I felt in front of everyone. As I spoke, Jenny's frown deepened, her eyes reflecting a quiet anger on my behalf. "That's just not right, Megan," she said firmly. "You've been nothing but hardworking and kind. You don't deserve any of that." Just then, Tom, Jenny's husband and co-owner of the diner, joined us, carrying a plate of my favorite chocolate chip cookies. He slid the plate in front of me with a kind smile. "Heard a bit about what happened," he said. "You know, blood isn't always family. Sometimes it's the people who stand by you when the storm hits." His words, simple but heartfelt, struck a chord in me. Here were these two people, who hadn't known much about my personal struggles until now, showing more love and care than my own family had in years. Jenny gently squeezed my hand. "We're here for you, Megan, whatever you need. You're part of our diner family, and we look out for each other." Hearing that, I felt a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time, true belonging, and for the first time, I believed I didn't have to face everything alone. Tears welled up in my eyes, overwhelmed by Jenny and Tom's kindness and support. "Thank you, both of you," I said, my voice soft. "It means more than you know." As we continued talking, the warm atmosphere of the diner, the gentle clatter of dishes, the soft hum of conversation, slowly lifted my spirits. I was reminded that there were people who valued and appreciated me for who I truly was. Being with Jenny and Tom made me realize an important truth: family isn't just about blood, it's about the people who stand by you, who support you, and who believe in you. Their encouragement left me feeling renewed, and as I left the diner that evening, I felt a strong sense of purpose. The heavy burden of my family's expectations and criticism felt lighter, knowing I had people who believed in me, in my choices, and in my future. This newfound strength helped solidify my resolve to push forward with my education and life, determined to define success on my own terms. As I walked back to my dorm under the starry sky, I understood that while the road ahead might be lonely at times, I wasn't truly alone. Jenny and Tom had shown me that family can be chosen, and that support can come from unexpected places. Their kindness gave me a sense of belonging, and for that, I was deeply grateful. They taught me that choosing your family can bring peace and happiness that blood ties might not always provide. Months passed, each one bringing me closer to my goals. My grades were excellent. I was actively involved in key campus activities, and I had secured an internship that promised a bright future. As I thrived both academically and personally, I felt a strong sense of pride and accomplishment, one that was entirely my own. This new chapter of my life was filled with independence and support from friends and mentors who genuinely believed in my potential. One crisp morning, while scrolling through the news on my phone before class, a headline caught my attention. It was about Lily's Bakery. The article detailed a major health scandal, unsanitary conditions, and multiple violations that had gone unchecked for too long. The fallout was disastrous. The bakery had been shut down, and the media frenzy that followed ruined the family's reputation beyond repair. Sitting in the quiet of the library, I was flooded with a complicated mix of emotions. I took no pleasure in seeing Lily and my parents suffer, but there was a grim sense of inevitability about it. Their reckless decisions, years of bending rules and prioritizing Lily at all costs, had finally caught up with them. It was a stark reminder of just how far I had distanced myself from that world of chaos and neglect. In the weeks that followed, news of their financial collapse spread throughout town. My parents had invested everything into the bakery, ignoring their other responsibilities and even their own well-being. Now, with the business gone, they were left with nothing but debts and regrets. It was a harsh reality that my family had to face alone, one they had brought upon themselves. Despite the chaos unfolding back home, my life on campus was thriving. I often thought about the stark difference between my steady rise and their dramatic fall. But it wasn't just about money or reputation, it was about integrity, making choices that reflected my values and ambitions. I had chosen a path of hard work and honesty, breaking free from the toxic environment that had dominated my past. One evening, while discussing my future with my mentor, Professor Hawkins, he said something that stuck with me. "Megan, it's not just about surviving the storm," he mused, "it's about learning to dance in the rain." His words hit home. Yes, I had been through a lot, but more importantly, I had grown from it. I had created a life defined by my own successes and the community I had built around me, not by the failures of my family. As I walked back to my dorm that night, the soft glow of the streetlights lit my path, and I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The struggles with my family now felt like a distant storm, its echoes barely reaching me. In its place was a quiet confidence in my own abilities and decisions. I knew challenges would come, but I was equipped to face them with the support and strength I had gained. My family's downfall, while sad, was a direct result of their own choices, missteps that had led to their collapse. But I was building something different, something real, sustainable, and true to who I was. As I closed the door to my room, a smile crossed my face. It was the smile of someone who had not only survived, but thrived. I had taken control of my own destiny and was ready to embrace whatever the future had in store, with an unshakable spirit. That's the end of Megan's story. What would you have done in her situation? Would you have made the same decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.